Hello everyone, this is NTom64.
And this is THD.
And continuing this month's trend of, little 2D platformers, welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Super Mario Land. You like this one a lot, don't you, mate?
To be honest, I've played more of the sequel, Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, but I have a feeling I shouldn't be talking about that yet, should I?
We'll get to that eventually. Thank you for ruining my perfect little intro, by the way. I was so confident that you really dug this game, but you prefer the sequel, so whatever. Alright, little bit of a backstory here, much like with Sparkster. This was commissioned by the then president of Nintendo Japan, Hiroshi Yamauchi, and it was actually produced by Gunpei Yokoi, who was the dude behind Metroid, Game & Watch, and the motherfucking Game Boy, although he did do some stuff like the Virtual Boy, so no one's perfect, I guess.
Yeah, just don't throw that back in his face, huh?
This title was basically their way of saying, the Game Boy's launching, here's a Mario platformer for it, it's pretty good, come on, buy the frigging thing. And it was a launch title in Japan, obviously. It was supposed to show how good the handheld was, but Tetris apparently stole its thunder when it was bundled with the console in the US.
Hey, first off, Tetris is really good, and secondly, what I do like about the design in this game is that the way they designed it was to take advantage of the fact that, at the time the Game Boy screen was green and black, So you'll notice there's a lot of different distinct changes in this game, like, the Koopas explode after you hit them. The fireball is more like a ball projectile than anything. It doesn't emphasize, a lot of the blacks that the Game Boy was able to produce at the time. Now here, obviously, I think it looks better. Like, the green wasn't really my thing. I never really had an original Game Boy. I had a Game Boy Color, personally, and I think the black and white thing here looks much better than just green and black.
The optimal way of playing both Mario Lands, or, 3 if you include, the first Wario Land game, is via the Super Game Boy, so you can have that sick cinema border.
Man, I kind of wish I had a Super Game Boy at one point, because, the thrill of just playing Game Boy games on the big screen just sounds a lot more inviting to me, personally.
And then, obviously, you had, the GameCube or GBA player, and I was playing Superstar Saga at Christmas with a GameCube controller, and it felt good.
Oh man, I kind of need to do that with my own, because I have a copy of a Superstar Saga, actually on the GBA, and I need to find a way to kind of slap that shit on the big screen. Well, I know how, but come on.
Alright, enough of our petty desires. Here's the story of Super Mario Land, and I'm reading this directly from the manual, and I miss manuals like this. Once upon a time, there was a peaceful world called Sarasaland. This is where the game takes place. In this world, there were 4 kingdoms, named Barabuto, Muda, no Dio jokes please, Eastern, and Chai. One day the skies of this land were suddenly covered by a huge black cloud, and from a crack in this cloud, an unknown space monster known as Titanga, aka he who would not be appearing in Mario Galaxy, emerged to try and conquer everything. He hypnotized the people of all the kingdoms so he could control them, stole Princess Daisy because he wants to marry her, and bingo bango, we got ourselves a plot. You don't really need to know any more than that, it's a Mario game.
Yeah, I was also really disappointed, too, that Titanga didn't show up in Super Mario Galaxy, because that would have been the perfect time to introduce him. And then, the sequel is coming out. Maybe now they'll get to Titanga. Nope!
No, just Bowser all over again. This is one of the tunes I remember the most, the whole Egyptian kind of thing. It's so not Mario, and I suppose that's because this was the first Mario title that had no hands-on involvement by Miyamoto at all.
It really kind of plays a lot to more, real-world tropes that we're familiar with in terms of the various areas. We got this Egypt land. Later on, we're going to go to China land, pretty much. It's just kind of, it gets a bit predictable, but I suppose it's a little bit better than Fire World, Grass World, Ice World,
Yeah, Super Mario Land, the video game, the Mario game, for people who just can't stand talking mushrooms.
Yeah, in fact, that noise.
That was a boss. Certainly a boss. You can use, I believe it's called the Super Ball, to just whammy him to death, but if you're small Mario, it's easy enough to just run under him if you have the right timing.
Yeah, just typical Bowser strats, if you will.
Ah, Daisy. Your very first appearance.
later on she hasn't really gotten a lot of good luck, because she's mostly condemned to, like, the sports games, the kart games. Some people do demand her for Smash, which is strange, because I'm not really sure what you could do with her outside of an alt.
Speaking of, this is her Smash 4 trophy description. She may be the princess of Sarasaland, but she doesn't exactly have the poise you might expect from royalty. BTW, Mario arrived in World 2 in his fucking UFO. Make of that way you will. Daisy is more of a headstrong, active type. That's all part of her charm, though, and rumour has it that Luigi is quite smitten with her. Unlike Peach, she's only really been kidnapped once in Super Mario Land.
That's true, but then again, Daisy doesn't really have enough of an interesting antagonist to kidnap her with. Like, Tatanga, you'd really have to flesh him out, but Bowser, man, he's got so much press over the years, we kind of expect it at this point,
I believe this is where I decided to show off my sick, not fireball skills. It takes me a few tries, don't worry, we'll get there.
Well, I'm glad you kept this in.
Nothing but the best primo quality content for the channel, mate.
Oh, nicely done.
Oh, if I was a lesser commentator, I'd insert an MLG air horn there, but I'm not, so moving on. World 2, mate, the land of Muda. Oh, fuck it, Muda, Muda, Muda!
Yeah, there we go. Let's all get this out, because that episode will probably be up by the time this goes onto YouTube.
Yeah, one of the most iconic pieces from the game. I find myself humming this every so often. No idea why the invincibility theme is like, what is this, the fucking can-can?
I think it is the can-can, yeah. It's like this generic universal sound library sound, which is really weird for Mario, Yeah,
Nintendo, they were always, the people who looked towards the future, so they were like, man, this is royalty-free, so we can use this, like, if we ever decide to do a Let's Play of this game on a YouTube-like service.
That's true. Do you think Content ID will pick up that too?
Well, at the time of this recording on the non-commentary channel, it did get picked up by a remix that is being claimed by someone not even affiliated with said remix.
Yeah, that's cute, guys. I'm gonna have to dispute that if you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay, moving on, we gotta deal with robots. Those guys can throw their heads. Goombas, what happened to you, Goomba? You used to be so intimidating, now you don't even have fangs.
Yeah. Although I always thought it was a bit weird that Goombas had fangs. They're basically evil mushrooms, right? So, I don't know.
Well, I was going to save this this bit of trivia for the next part. I guess we're just going to have to fumble our way through that like we do with everything else. But the music in this game was done by a man called... Sorry, Japanese name, have to take a run-up to this one. Hirokazu Hip Tanaka, hip being in quotation marks. The dude behind the music for Balloon Fight, Wild Gunman, Metroid, Kid Icarus, and, of course, your favourite and mine, Tetris.
There we go. Yeah, I've heard of Hip Tanaka. He's got some pretty good music down, yeah.
Yeah, not to be confused with Kazumi Totaka. That's the guy who puts his little jingle in almost every game he works on. Totaka did the music for the second game, which we'll be getting to later in the month.
Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with this game, but the most I do know about Super Mario Land, if other people have seen this when Lean Car reviewed these, they actually had a limited run of Game Boy-themed comics for a while, and most of them told the tales of human characters unleashing characters from Super Mario Land from the Game Boy to do battle in our world, although they were super tiny, and that didn't really seem as impressive. Although at one point, I believe Mario kind of jury-rigs his own fighter plane, and he's flying around with actual fighters. It was... Oh, holy shit, it's a weird fucking comic, by the way. But it surprisingly gets compelling after a while. Like, the main antagonist character, quote-unquote, the human one, what was his name? Herman something. Like, they really start painting him after a while as this surprisingly complex guy who... pretty much he doesn't really have any friends, and he actually finds some sort of meaning and, friendship with these alien digital invaders, Tatanga's armies. It's surprisingly interesting for how fucking weird it is.
Is it more interesting than a side-scrolling shooter section where Mario's in a frigging submarine?
Well, I don't know. Does the submarine have interesting character actions with the fist? 'Cause other than that,
I love how basic this is. The UFOs and the seaweed are just drawings, not even sprites.
And this is weird. Like, I don't think since this game Mario's ever been in any kind of shmup situation. Like, you can really tell Miyamoto did not put his hands all over this, because they're trying, like, a whole bunch of different stuff. Although, do you think that Mario should go back to do some shmup stuff, like in the future, maybe?
I think we should have, like, a proper Super Mario Land 3. No, I'm not counting the actual Super Mario Land 3, that stars Wario. And no, I'm not counting 3D Land. That's an entirely different sub-series, thank you very much.
So you want like another sort of 2D thing for maybe like the eShop or 3DS or whatever, but maybe kind of a, call back to these retro graphics. Oh, hey, I love it when collectibles spell out names, by the way, because that's convenient.
Yeah, 6 golden coins does that as well. And don't worry, we'll stop sucking that one off and get to it soon enough. But, just going back to your thing about, downloadable titles, I don't know why, because the 2D series seems to consist of just like New Super Mario Bros. Now, which is, fine for what it is, just not my cup of tea aesthetically or gameplay-wise. I don't know why they just don't whack together like a cute little pixel art kind of 2D Mario tile, put it on the eShop, $5, takes you like a few hours or even a couple to beat, boom, there you go.
Hey, you know what would be great on the eShop? A new fucking Puzzle League game, how about that?
How about Pokemon Trading Card Game 3?
That would be kind of hard to do. Besides, they have Pokemon Trading Card Game online. That's kind of there. That's available. But me, a Panel de Pon fan, I've gotten jack shit since the DS game came out. You bought that for me a while back, and I'm playing the hell out of it, and I'm like, why the fuck are we not getting this good game, and instead we're getting, like, fucking Trozy and crap? That stuff's lame.
Welcome to Easter Island Land.
It's kind of weird we were talking about Gradius, in a Sparkster, because, the common trend of that game is to put in the Easter Island heads in somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Or was that another shoot 'em up game? I'm trying to remember. There's so damn many,
Oh, there's Gradius, there's Parodius.
Parodius is the same as, it's from the same people, but we have, like, R-Type, things like that. Was it an R-Type trope? I don't remember.
Taking a moment to enjoy the music. No, we haven't run out of commentary, why'd you ask?
Here is a mailbox with wings. I'm so glad they decided to, I don't know. I guess it's because we're in Sarasaland. First off, that sounds like a salad dressing, and I would totally have some Sarasaland dressing on my salad.
Yeah.
Although I can't have too much, because I suppose it would fatten me right up.
I think the piranha plants look a wee bit too much like plants in this, if I can even nitpick like that.
Whoa, what the hell was that Geodude motherfucker doing?
Yeah, the friggin' Nozpaz enemies over here. Oh my god, these guys were some of the biggest contributors to the amount of retakes I had to do on this one level. Not this world, this one level.
I'm noticing now, as you're going through this, and you were going through some earlier levels, like, they seem to repeat, some sections of the stage, like, quite a lot. Like, that area back there with the jumping mailbox was pretty much the same twice, so I don't know.
Well, they have to reuse set pieces so you get your money's worth, I guess.
I suppose, because Game Boy development is so expensive. Like, I'm wondering how much this cost back in the day. Like, how these days they're like, oh, well, AAA game development is so expensive. But, back then they had limited teams. Like, how much money did it cost to make, like, a mainstream Game Boy title? Like, that's what I'm wondering.
I'll do it for a pack of Red Hot Chili Heatwave Doritos, and then I'm a happy boy.
Well, you can't really live on that unless you got, like...
Yes, you can, I think you'll find.
Well, that's because you're weird and freakish when it comes to that kind of thing, Tom.
Thank you for not using the other F word. You see me rolling.
Where are rocks coming from the sky?
The boss, I think you'll find. The boss of the Eastern Kingdom.
So he's shooting, like, rocks from, no doubt, the distance or something like that?
He's putting them really, really far, from Act 3 and all that.
Yeah, so far they just pop in out of nowhere. That's how far they're coming.
Haven't really had a chance to mention the bonus area. You get to the top door, the secret door, and then you go to a little roulette thing, you stop the ladder, you get a power-up, or even some lives, and jobs are good. And we'll see you next time for the second half of the game.